Hi there. Sam Flot, crawling out of my Flot hobbit hole down there. Just checking in here from 2010. It's another version of A Year in Flot program coming to you from Maple Falls, Washington. Maple Falls, Washington. And just gonna read some poems that I wrote in 2010, trying to get my archives organized and get some videos of them, read a bunch of them for each year that they were written in. And yeah, they go through a whole bunch. Here I'm reading them alphabetically with the constantly confusing order here that each year, take the poems, I'm reading them alphabetically for each year, which is chronologically, so there you go. It was pretty confusing in the last year when I tried to describe all of that. And one more disclaimer, as I was talking about the poem Cloud Yards in the Earth, Sky, Earth, watching it afterwards, I realized that I said this is a motion poem, and then I said that I wrote it while I was pulled over at a spur on the train. The train was pulled over, and I thought about it, and I said, so I was totally still on a train while it, so it wasn't a motion poem, technically. I was on a train that did move before and after I wrote the poem. So disclaimer, there we go. Then I'm going to read you these. This one's called a kickstart or a pick-me-up. I was hoping for a kickstart or a pick-me-up, longing for some kind of long-winded second wind delivered like an epigram to a rising moon sky, or a waking sense of emblematic wash cycle, symptomatic cash trickle. Emblematic wash cycle, symptomatic cash trickle. Emblematic wash cycle, symptomatic cash trickle. And I wouldn't need my second wind if I never got tired in the first place. I wouldn't wind down to unspun and all spent if I never went off spinning my top. If I never took on another overzealous undertaking of travel or effort to put places into time's rigid structure of now or never past a deadline. And if I never went and did anything in the first place, I never need my second wind 3 or 4 times a night. If I never exhausted my reserve fuel cell, I never need a third. If the third lasted forever, I'd never need the fourth. If I ever stop and just rested just one bit, one would do me just fine all day. I was hoping to catch a second wind as it blew through, but it blew on by overhead or underfoot. I caught a cab instead, it got me there quicker. I was hoping to catch a second wind, but again, it blew by me on the left. I don't know, I forget. It might be correct to say it was the right. But memory escapes from specifics, and details are the last ones to know. I was hoping to catch a second wind, but I caught a cab instead. Woo. All right, 2010. I probably didn't catch 2 or 3 cabs in the year 2010. I was more likely to actually be driving than I was to be in a cab, whereas in the years prior to that, having lived in San Francisco, I didn't get in a lot of cabs, but I just definitely did it a lot more than I did in Santa Cruz, that's for sure. All right. This is called a Symposium. It's a little, it's I guess some thoughts on what it is that I do. Basically, it's thoughts about what I do for my job, writing. Sam Flot, put it down. It's called a Symposium. a symposium on a treatise on a platform on a dais, succeeding in solidifying the foundation of the introduction to the clarification theory, extrapolated by escaping the past through a hatch, stringing along the unlimited ultimation, triumphantly savoring the taste of knowing all along, announcing the transparency to be seen by all. Segmenting the equation, breaking it down to the cellular, taking it from the base, deep down inside the core. Sincere in this and every effort to explain the ambiguous insights to the highest measure of unclear I can possibly hope to never achieve. And since the bright ages, I have transferred my thoughts to paper. Using my blood for the ink of my art, I think, therefore I am writing. Precisely lacking succinct appraisals, ready to linger on one idea all day. Riding on the wheel of healing energy, the words provided, the words provide, the words will provide. I will follow my own path, I will carry my own baggage, I will accept a kind ride from a friend or a stranger. I will dance on the boundaries of the universe, pushing the limits and pulling my share. I mean the things I say, and I say the things I mean. If wanting accomplished anything alone, I might believe in justice. If effort was repaid with equal value, I know I'd start to think. And if pay reflected the work delivered, I know I would believe. But until then, I will write and speak. Until then, I will represent the forgotten ones whose voices remain silently suffering. I will write and speak for those who don't. I will write and speak for those who can't. And then maybe someday I might believe in justice, and then I'll write love poems and odes to the stars. But until then, those are my thoughts, October 2nd, 2010. A couple days before my birthday on 10/4. Yeah, Symposium. And, you know, while I'm throwing disclaimers out there, I have written love poems and odes to the stars in the meantime, for sure. It was definitely how I was feeling in that time. I wasn't disavowing I would ever do that again, but for sure, I mean, there's a feeling sometimes you're just, I write all different kinds of poetry. I don't have any real specific set way or thing that I do other than I just kind of rant and I get it all put together and edited and out there, but I don't really have, I wouldn't say any kind of specific thing that ends up happening, but this one, every once in a while happens. This is one that repeats itself in that it is describing what I do, how I do it, how I go about it, and usually some sort of vow on how I'm gonna go about it and move forward. I think I was always trying to write the Man in Black, you know, in my own way. I don't know if anybody knows the Johnny Cash song with the lyrics, "The Man in Black," about why I always dress in black, and I think I'm always trying to put that kind of an idea out there because I feel the same way. Shy of, you know, adopting that harsh of a stance, fashion stance, to prove my point. But anyway. Moving on, grooving high, bird words, parentheses, advice for sit-ins. So, quick explanation on this. I was inundated in jazz at the time. This is Charlie Parker. It's for Charlie Parker, thus the grooving high. Bird words, parentheses, advice for sit-ins, pertains to the fact that while we're talking about a saxophone, this taps into Martin Fierro, doing a sit-in with Mo at the Fillmore one time, and Chuck from Mo, I was kind of right down under them at the Fillmore, looking up, and it kicked him the solo. He did it 8 measures real quick, all polite, got back over to him, kicked it back to Chuck, and Chuck just looked at him and he was just like, fucking well. So it's tapping into that. It's definitely feeling that. He told him to wail. Martin wailed. He soloed for literally like 10 minutes. And look it up. Look it up. It went a long time. So this is called Groovin' High Bird Words Advice for Sit-ins. Who knew if you simply let it rip, if it would tear or come out all torn? Who knew if it would skip all over the surface or come under the radar's elusive belt? And then there were all the canceling out factors, which were not included automatically. Like the car was never packed, the gas never went in the tank on its own. Flowers still grow green and true. The coast still greets the ocean's shoreline, malleable in direct response to the moon, pulling and pushing, elevating, and carving it all out, celebrating. And when the clock runs, it runs fast. So don't forget to include all your thank yous when you finally do finish. Always blow hard and get out all polite like. Unless they tell you to wail. If they tell you to wail, they well sure better know they have definitely hurried up a hurricane. Sam Flot for Charlie Parker, 5/11/10. Bird words. Something about Charlie Parker gets me writing poems, I'll tell you that. More to come. Okay, this is called Not That Type Writer. I'm not that type writer, deleting doubts, selecting emotional shore shots, more like subjectively celebrating natural selection. Tables hold things and chairs hold people. Ideally 1 page feeds at a time, and all the while I'm expecting jams of traffic, raspberry, paper. I see monks with bowls turned up or down, permeating, skin surface dreaming, under all the misconceived ideas I have ever imagined, all inside one dream. Or one day of calamity clamoring through. And then no more calamitous events ever. Only questions without fear of retired retributions with cross purposes and redirected ingredients. Listed one by one, because nothing is ever 1 by 2 or 1 by 3. And I'm sitting, standing, walking, lying on a rug, like a rug, cutting said carpet with culinary academics. And if you like misdirection, I am her leader. Clearer and without all the insincere. Without the tears and without the fear. Not tense or insensitive, I'm culminating the year of months like a sandman makes glass. Sculpturing air into the wind, putting pine into knots, and turning would-bes into yeses. I'm fulminating right now. Jumping silently, writing down how. And if indeed you need to follow, choose yourself. Empower the hollow feeling that never burns by sparking the fire inside your own belly. I'm not that type writer. And the sign off says Flot 5977. I mean 10. So a little shout out to 5977. $12.29.10. Finish it all up. Xerxes dropped a dime. Kazoo wouldn't call a poem that. Okay. And it goes like this. Xerxes dropped a dime on Judas escaping, chariot chasing the horse's lariat, timing the gun's bullets against the mirror's reflection. Multiplied by the factor of yellow mustard and exonerated pumpkin sauce. Always tastes best on everything bread. Toasted just past brittle brown and submerged in the leftover river fall off of mountain-grown snow, melting to become leftover river. Seasonally wafting its scent over mountain and ragweed and asking for emphatic solvency is like wandering with clues to dissect a moth's brain, to find out why he wants to go to the light so badly he will risk everything. All in. I'm heading straight to the light. 12/29/10, Sunny Fogness, Sam Flot. The Sunny Fogness, of course, being our house in Capitola. Historically, over the years, in my notes, I try to nickname wherever I was living and put a little notation down for that. So, SFN in the notes. That was the spot Jossie and I lived at down Capitola Way. We loved it. It was a wonderful place. We had a fun time there. Anyway, once again, we've reached the end of another year. The old baby's getting ready to get booted out. The new baby's getting ready to come in the new year. So this is 2010 winding up for you. The Year in Flot 2010. Broadcast from Maple Falls in 2020. So winding it down, we'll be doing these. Just going to try to keep making these videos for each year. Gathering 5 to 7 poems, not drag them out too long for you, like this one. No, not drag them out too long, just make it. To me, I figure it's like a blog. I mean, it's really just audio, really. I don't understand if any of you are really sitting here watching me read these, but I would think you're just listening. You could just listen and go check out Twitter or just stay off that other social media thingy. Go learn Twitter is my advice. Thank you, and have a pleasant 2011. This is 2010 on the way out. The Year in Flot. Peace.